My wife served me dinner with a smile every night, until I caught her whispering to her best friend, "Only when he pisses me off." I thought it was a joke, but the ER proved otherwise. I wasn't just sick, I was being poisoned. Let's begin. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 30 years old, live in Denver, Colorado, and I used to think I was the luckiest man alive. I had a good job in a logistics firm, a condo downtown, and a stunning girlfriend named Vanessa Blake. She was magnetic, soft-spoken, but confident, with that kind of effortless charisma that made people hang on her every word. She was sharp, worked in pharmaceutical sales, and was always the one to bring up dinner plans, wine choices, and the latest wellness trends. We'd been together for 4 years, lived together for 2. Everyone said we were perfect for each other. I believed them, until the night I overheard her laughing in the dining room. It was a Thursday. Vanessa had invited her best friend, Naomi, over for dinner. A simple pasta night with wine and laughter. I stepped away to the bathroom. Our apartment had thin walls. I could hear the wine glasses clinking. Then Naomi's voice. "You're still doing it." Vanessa chuckled, low and satisfied. "Only when he annoys me." I paused, hand frozen on the bathroom door. "What are you even putting in it?" Naomi asked. "Depends on the day," Vanessa said casually. "Sometimes it's just a crushed Ambien. If he forgets something important, maybe a beta blocker or 2. Helps keep him home. Helps keep him obedient." Naomi gasped. Vanessa giggled. "Negative reinforcement," she said. "He doesn't even suspect. I swear, I've trained him better than any boyfriend I've ever had." My mouth dried up. My mind reeled. It all clicked. Months of stomach issues, dizziness, the night I blacked out after a minor argument. The multiple doctor visits with no answers. I always assumed stress, anxiety, maybe bad takeout. But this was methodical. This was betrayal at the cellular level. I walked out of the bathroom and into the dining room like nothing happened. Smiled, sat down, moved the pasta around my plate. Vanessa kept glancing at me, touching my wrist, asking if I was okay. I nodded, just tired. That night, after she fell asleep, I grabbed my keys and drove to the ER. "I think someone's poisoning me," I told the triage nurse. She raised her eyebrows. Then she saw the look in my eyes and nodded. They took my blood and urine, ran the tests. The results? Positive for zolpidem, Ambien, enough to cause impairment. The doctor looked me dead in the eyes. "This is recent. Within the last 12 to 24 hours. I called my older brother, Mason. He's an attorney. A sharp one. He didn't hesitate. "Get out. Now. Don't go back." I booked a hotel, sent a work email, called in sick. Over the next few days, I worked with a detective named Elena Ruiz. Calm, professional, smart. She believed me, but she needed more. "If you can get her to admit it on record, we'll have probable cause," she said. "This is serious, but we need airtight evidence." I went back to the apartment while Vanessa was out. Hit my phone. Hit record. When she came home, I played dumb. "Babe, I've been feeling off again. Like that time after our anniversary." "Oh," she asked. You didn't put anything in the food, right?" I said, pretending to laugh it off. A pause. Then that same laugh again. Nervous. "You're being paranoid." Later, I found her stash. Behind the medicine cabinet, behind the tampons, I found empty gel caps. White powder. Prescription bottles. Some under her name, some under her mother's. I photographed everything. Then I left. Ruiz moved fast. Lab tested the residue. Zolpidem. Propranolol. A custom cocktail of mild poison. They got the warrant. 3 days later, Vanessa was arrested at her office. Vanessa's arrest was public. Her coworkers watched as 2 officers cuffed her in the middle of a sales floor presentation. Her face, pale and stunned, was burned into the memories of a dozen bystanders and captured on more than one smartphone. The media didn't pick it up yet, but I knew that would change. That night, I received a call from jail. "Ethan, this is crazy. I didn't poison you. Maybe you're allergic to something. Maybe it's all in your head." I hung up, but Vanessa wasn't finished. Her parents bailed her out. $50,000. I came home to find bleach poured over every piece of my clothing. My monitor smashed. My console wrecked. And on the table, my favorite meal, steak with rosemary butter, garlic mashed potatoes, a sticky note on the plate, made with love, like always. The detective shook her head. "This is a violation of the protective order. We're filing more charges. I felt numb. But beneath the numbness, something darker started to rise. Not fear, not pain. A need, a fire, revenge. The medical bills started piling up. My cardiologist confirmed irregular heart rhythms consistent with long-term beta blocker exposure. The gastroenterologist said I had IBS-like symptoms from repeated laxative abuse. My body was the wreckage of someone else's game. My brother, Mason, documented everything. He called it long-term calculated domestic assault. We were going after her civilly too. But it wasn't about money. It was about truth, justice, closure. Then Naomi called. She was crying. This isn't the first time, she confessed. There was another guy. Her ex, Drew. He got really sick too. Vanessa said he had Crohn's. But he got better right after they broke up. I asked the obvious. Why didn't you say anything earlier? I thought she was joking, you know? Dark humor. She used to laugh about keying her high school boyfriend's car. She gave me Drew's number. He picked up on the third ring. Dude, if this is about Vanessa, Ron. He was blunt. She almost killed me, man. I lost 20 pounds. Thought I was dying. She played the perfect girlfriend. Herbal teas, chicken soup. But I was always too dizzy to drive. Too nauseous to think. Doctors thought it was anxiety. The conversation shook me. It was like hearing my own story in another man's voice. The same patterns. The same slow poisoning. Mason added it to our evidence file. Vanessa's lawyer was a slick-talking man named Carl Maddox. He twisted reality with a smirk. She was a victim, he argued in a public statement, manipulated by a controlling partner. This was a cry for help, not an act of violence. I was controlling, apparently, because I traveled for work and didn't answer texts during flights. Her poisoning, they said, was self-defense. My response, a vasectomy report. Because 3 months after her arrest, Vanessa claimed she was pregnant. With my child. Except I gotten sterilized 2 years ago. Quietly. Mutually agreed. We didn't want kids. I just never told her I went through with it. When my medical records surfaced, her lawyer pivoted. She's a pregnant woman facing trauma and abandonment from a man who deceived her. The father? A married cardiologist from her pharmaceutical conference in Vegas. The man refused contact. Signed away parental rights. Vanessa's parents weren't done either. They showed up to my mom's house. Banged on the door. Screamed about ruining their daughter's life. That I was heartless. That I was killing their grandchild. I filed a restraining order. They violated it 3 times. Ruiz had to install a security camera outside my apartment. My locks were changed twice. And every night, I checked the fridge, the stove, the windows. Hypervigilance, my therapist called it. I called it survival. But I wasn't just surviving. I was planning. Vanessa thought she could break me. That I'd shatter under pressure. She underestimated how cold I could be once I stopped loving her. I started working with Mason on the civil suit. But I had one condition. I wanted her exposed. Not just in court, but to the world. We tracked down her old college records. 2 more boyfriends. Both had filed campus incident reports. Suspicious illnesses. Sudden breakups. No charges. No follow-up. Just a pattern ignored. That's when Mason looked me in the eye and said something that stuck. Let's not just win this case. Let's end her. 8 months. That is how long it took for Vanessa's trial to begin. 8 months of delays. Of filings. Of motions. Of her lawyer throwing every technicality against the wall to see what would stick. But on a cold February morning, I stood outside the courthouse, hands in my pockets, my brother at my side. Vanessa arrived in a floral maternity dress. Hair braided. Belly prominent. She looked like she was headed to a baby shower, not a criminal trial. But I saw it in her eyes, the panic behind the performance. She wasn't there to win. She was there to survive. The courtroom was quiet as the prosecutor made her opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will hear about medications, about hidden capsules, about a man who trusted the woman he lived with and how that trust was broken, one dinner at a time. They laid it all out. My 17 ER visits over 2 years. The toxicology reports. The phone recording where she deflected but never denied. Photos of the hidden pills. Her credit card history. 6 purchases of empty capsules over 24 months. Then came the witnesses. Jenna, her best friend, who tearfully admitted to hearing Vanessa laugh about training me like a dog. Drew, her ex-boyfriend, who testified via Zoom from Oregon, recounting the exact symptoms I had. I thought I had a mystery illness, he said. Turns out I was just dating a pharmacist with a god complex. Even the campus security officer testified. 2 boyfriends, similar complaints. Vanessa's history wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. Then came my turn on the stand. Vanessa wouldn't look at me. Why didn't you go to police right away? Her lawyer asked on cross. I needed proof, I replied. No one believed me for 2 years. I was tired of being told it was in my head. Isn't it true that you recorded her without consent? In my own apartment, which I paid for, in a one-party consent state. Yes. The lawyer tried to rattle me, suggesting the pills were planted, that I was framing her because of the pregnancy. That's when Mason leaned forward and passed the prosecutor a file. My vasectomy. End of story. Then something unexpected happened. Vanessa insisted on testifying. Her lawyer looked like he'd swallowed a nail. She took the stand, swore in, then looked around the courtroom like a trembling, fragile lamb. Ethan suffers from extreme anxiety, she said softly. He refuses help. I work in pharmaceuticals. I knew how to ease his symptoms. I never wanted to hurt him. I only wanted peace. The prosecutor smiled, walked to the front. You gave him beta blockers without a prescription? They help with heart rate. You gave him Ambien? He wasn't sleeping. You gave him laxatives? He needed better digestion. You combined them. I knew what I was doing. I was careful. And did Ethan ever consent to any of this? No. But he felt better after. Did he feel better when he passed out on your kitchen floor? When he went to the hospital? Well, his heartbeat was dangerously low. Vanessa was sweating now. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean to. He needed me. He was mine. Silence. Dead silence. The courtroom held its breath. The final blow came from the toxicologist. The combination of drugs administered, over time, could have been fatal, she explained. These weren't random mistakes. This was calculated. Could have killed him. With enough exposure? Yes, absolutely. The trial lasted 4 days. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. The verdict? Guilty. 2 counts of first-degree assault. 1 count of tampering with a consumer product. 1 count of stalking. Multiple violations of a restraining order. Vanessa didn't cry. She stared at me with quiet, focused hatred. But her parents did. Her mother wailed. Her father shouted at the jury. You just sentenced a pregnant woman to die in prison. Bailiffs dragged them out. At sentencing, the prosecutor requested 15 years. The defense begged for 5. Vanessa stood and addressed the court. And that was when the mask came off. I'm not sorry, she said. Ethan was broken. I fixed him. He needed me sick. He needed me helpless. That was when he was the most loving. She smiled. I made him better. I made him mine. The judge was cold. You've shown no remorse. You've admitted intent. You were a danger to society. Sentence: 12 years in prison. Eligible for parole in 8. I should have felt closure. But something inside me stayed restless. She still wrote me letters from prison. Perfumed. Delusional. The system had punished her. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Because she didn't just poison my body. She poisoned my life. And I was going to make sure she never walked back into it again. 3 weeks after Vanessa was sentenced, the first envelope arrived. No return address. Just my name. I didn't open it. I never would. But the scent of her perfume hit me like a punch. Vanilla and sandalwood. The same scent I used to find comforting. Now it triggered nausea. My lawyer said the letters were technically legal, unless they contained threats. Keep them, he advised. We'll use them in the civil trial. Shows continued harassment. Shows obsession. I kept them, stacked in a locked cabinet. 10 letters in the first month. 17 the second. She was behind bars, but still trying to poison my peace. The civil trial was quieter. No jury. Just facts, files, and medical reports. I sued for medical costs, pain and suffering, lost wages, and emotional trauma. Vanessa had $3,000 in savings and a leased BMW. Her parents claimed bankruptcy. Their homeowner's insurance refused to cover intentional criminal acts. Mason, my brother, pressed harder. We obtained lien rights against any future assets. The judge awarded $247,000 in damages. I would likely never see most of it. But that wasn't the point. What mattered was that her record, civil and criminal, was now public. Unsealed. Permanent. The next twist came from the cardiologist. The married one. The father of Vanessa's unborn child. He was named in our civil subpoena process. His name, Dr. Henry Carlisle. Board certified. Respected. Lives in Nevada with a wife and 2 children. He had tried to disappear after Vanessa's arrest, but Mason's team found him. He didn't want to be involved. But when his name came up in court, his hospital board found out. His license was suspended for failing to disclose criminal association with an active investigation. His wife filed for divorce. Fast. Turns out, Vanessa's miracle baby wasn't saving anyone. And yet, the child was born. A baby girl. Healthy. Loud. Alive. Vanessa's parents took custody. They began telling a different story. That Vanessa was a victim. A misunderstood woman whose only crime was trying to help a broken man who abandoned her during pregnancy. Her mother started a blog, wrote entries titled, "My Daughter, My Hero," claimed the trial was rigged, that I was a narcissist who framed her daughter after cheating. My inbox filled with hate mail from strangers. "She's a mother. You ruined 3 lives." No, she ruined mine first. But this was the final straw. Mason and I hired a PR firm. Quiet, clean, precise. They compiled everything. ER records, court transcripts, the toxicology results, audio clips, witness affidavits. Then they helped us publish a detailed article on Medium, a first-person account titled, "The Woman Who Loved Me Sick." It went viral. 50,000 reads in the first week. Then a journalist picked it up. Then a podcast. Vanessa's name was suddenly everywhere. The blog? Taken down. The hate mail? Silenced. Her parents? Embarrassed. Hounded. They changed the baby's last name. Moved to another town. But it didn't matter. The truth had its own gravity. I should have felt better. But I didn't. Not fully. Because trust doesn't rebuild overnight. Every date, I tried into the same way. Awkwardness. Withdrawal. I couldn't eat if I didn't see the food being made. Couldn't sleep if I didn't lock the door 3 times. I saw Vanessa in flashes. In the waitress's smile. In the pharmacist's voice. In my nightmares. My therapist called it CPTSD. A fancy term for your brain can't let go of the danger. She wasn't wrong. Then Naomi called. Again. She'd been going to therapy too. Said she needed closure. Said she wanted to apologize. To my face. We met at a small cafe. One I picked. One with an open kitchen and glass walls. I watched every step of my meal being prepared. Naomi looked tired, but genuine. I enabled her, she said. I laughed when she joked about it. I thought she was just venting, just being sarcastic. But I should have known. She was always calculating, always one step ahead. I listened, then asked, "Why didn't you come forward the moment she was arrested?" Naomi looked down. "Because I was afraid of what it said about me, that I did nothing." She cried. I didn't, but I thank her for the truth, even if it came too late. That night, I walked home in the snow. I looked up at the sky. The city lights bounced off the clouds like ghosts trying to find peace. Vanessa was in prison, but parts of her still haunted me. That's when I knew what I had to do next. I took a week off work, flew to Oregon, to visit Drew. We sat in a cabin overlooking a lake, 2 men who had survived the same hurricane. "I read your article," he said. "It helped me explain things to my wife." We talked until midnight. He had found love again, trust again, a life beyond survival. "You'll get there," he told me. "Just don't rush it." Heal loud, live louder. 3 months after the article went viral, I received a letter from Vanessa's lawyer. It wasn't about the civil suit or unpaid damages. It was a request. Vanessa wanted to see me, in prison, not to beg, not to explain, but to find closure before her parole hearing. I ignored it for a week, then another, but something kept gnawing at me. Not curiosity, just a need in it all on my terms. So I went. The prison was quiet, sterile, humming with fluorescent lights. A female guard led me into a visitation room. Vanessa was already seated, hands folded neatly. Her prison uniform was crisp, her hair tied back. She looked thinner, still tried to look polished. "Ethan," she whispered, almost smiling. "You look well." I didn't answer. I sat down. Let the silence grow. I thought maybe, now that time has passed, we could talk like adults, she offered. I was sick then, lost. But motherhood has changed me. I almost laughed. "You poisoned me for 2 years, Vanessa. That's not sickness. That's evil wearing a pretty dress." Her expression flickered. "I didn't mean to hurt you. You drugged me when I annoyed you. You smiled while doing it. You cooked meals with pills and called it love." She leaned forward. "You needed me." I stood up, calm, certain. No, I needed to heal. And I did. And your story? The one you try to control? It belongs to the world now. Her eyes narrowed. You ruined me. No, you ruined yourself. I just held up the mirror. I walked out and never looked back. That night, I deleted her number, blocked the prison mail sender, rented a storage unit, and locked up everything that still reminded me of her. Old photos, court documents, even the unopened letters. A full purge. 1 year later, I met someone. Her name was Claire. She was a teacher. Quiet, kind, always asked if I was okay before hugging me. On our third date, I told her everything. Not all the details, but the truth. She didn't flinch, just reached across the table and held my hand. I don't know what that kind of betrayal feels like, she said, but I do know this. You're still standing. My therapist called it resilience. I call it finally breathing again. The last time I saw Vanessa's name, it was on a parole board docket. Denied. She wasn't ready. She might never be. And that's fine, because I am.